Good morning, good morning, good morning. God is good, and we here another day. It's a holiday. It's a holiday. It's a holiday. I don't know what day. Is holiday indicative of holy day? Is it something that America? I don't know. Anyway, whatever we are celebrating uh, today, I hope everybody have a happy one, a safe one, and you get back home to your loved ones so you can get back to work tomorrow and get that money and take care of that family. So yeah, indeed. Uh, Whatever you call the day about labor, about the workforce, whatever day we supposed to be celebrating, whatever day you can get off and do it, then you do it and do it well and be grateful for it. Thank God. God is good. Another day. Let's talk about some things, man. We're gonna be reacting to a new friend of mine. I won't say a new friend, but the state of Daniel, if you don't know anything about him, very good, very analytic. Details come out definitely easy to consume, easy to actually understand. And he uses just good analytics. And I like analytics. Sometimes they say numbers don't lie. So some people just speak, and some people give you their good viewpoints, which I love as well. And then sometimes we get somebody who give you their viewpoints as well as some analytics, some numbers to help you understand it better. So without further ado, I hope you are having a good morning so far. For some, maybe a good night. You know, different people in different parts of the country. I want to say, give a shout out to all of my people all around the world. I just talked to my son in California last night. Great conversation to my friend in the United Kingdom who sometimes joins D. Uh, I don't know what's going on over there, but I can tell you what's popping over here. And for the chief in Africa, my brother, keep doing the work. And I hope you can join me soon one time for a live so we can actually understand and, probably talk about what things are, what burdens are met, or what burdens do you meet. That's what I'm trying to understand and find out. So I'm gonna be bringing you a great interview from my brother, the chief in Sierra Leone. Definitely, it's a very interesting story. And I always wonder what burdens is brought by the dealings of America, by the dealings with America. How much is felt in the smaller countries that still have to depend on a lot of different things, a lot of fundraising, organizing, people on the ground to help. But if they're left to depend on certain deals from America, I like to know what comes with it, because we've heard from so many different leaders in Africa. The president of Ghana telling America, no, keep your trans ideology agenda and keep your money. We will not be putting that amongst our people just to get a couple of $100 million from you. And so it's very interesting. But without further ado, I want to get into some of this. We're going to be covering the state of Daniel. Um, he's covering Dana Bass's interview. Also, my man Wise, A Righteous Perspective, somebody else I always recommend, highly speak of. This brother actually highlighted my video, responded to me within 20 minutes in an email, and it's been great. When you meet people like that, you just want to make sure that you give them their props, because it is due. My brother Van from the LR family, Anton, and also a Black conservative perspective. Pops and Politics. Those are channels that you need to get on. They will help you stay away from CNN. So without further ado, we're going to get into it. Not, I almost said not going to do my countdown, but we're doing it anyway.
that tiny detail about the interview being live when it was clearly pre-taped, then what else can't we trust them about? What else are they misrepresenting? Think of it this way. Let's say an undecided viewer tuned in, right? And they've heard all this conflicting messaging about Kamala Harris's temperament and her qualifications and her ability to be president of the United States. Well, if they knew it was pre-taped, they'd be, skeptical of the answers. But if they thought it was live, they might.
All right. I had a reason to stop that. Hold on one second. Hmm. Sharing system sound is supported only while sharing entire screen or specific tab. Oh, that's not gonna be good. That's not gonna be good. And I don't know how to get around that. Let me see here. Hmm. Chrome tab. Ah, I see. All right. All right. Okay. All right. So basically, what I did not do right is this is not a Chrome tab, but we're gonna make it work out anyway. I hope. We're gonna make it work out anyway. All right, let's go.
Say, oh, she wasn't as bad as I thought she was going to be. It wasn't a train wreck as bad as Joe Biden's debate. I guess she's good. You know, perception matters, expectation matters, and by putting that live tab on the bottom, CNN they really shot their credibility more than it's already been destroyed. Not good for them. Also, Kamala Harris's answer for that question was complete nonsense. The question, just to remind you all, the question was her response to Donald Trump insinuating that she turned black. I mean, and she just said no comment. Next question. I mean, she didn't prepare for that. They didn't see that coming. For anyone else, that would have been an opportunity to, share their story or to give a counter argument. And Dana Bash, she could have asked a follow up question. Just off the top of my mind, Miss Harris, you've been on camera claiming that.
I think the worst part of that interview is we all know it was taped. We, we know it was taped, and we also know that when you're taping something, it's not live. Let me see what we got here. Good morning. Good morning. Can you? I'm glad you actually came up. Thank you. Can you actually hear the state of Daniel clearly? Could you please tell me that? I'm getting a message from my system that's telling me that the sound is not being heard, but I think it is. And so I'm asking. All right.
That were of Dana Bash's questions and her pushbacks. So there weren't really pushbacks, which is why I used hand quotes, against Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. So I'm going to play this, and I want you guys to leave in the comments how you would describe Dana Bash's demeanor in these questions. I want you to notice, too, right at the beginning, she's so fond and kind. It's almost like a warm conversation. And is that a smile I see on her face?
Madam Vice President, Governor Walz, thank you so much for sitting down with me and bringing the bus. Bus tour is well underway here in Georgia. You have less time to make your case to voters than any candidate in modern American history. The voters are really eager to hear what your plans are. If you are elected, what would you do on day one?
What's the greatest invention of all time?
In the White House. You talked about, you call it the opportunity economy. you are well aware that right now many Americans are struggling. There's a crisis of affordability.
Yeah.
One of your campaign themes is we're not going back. But I wonder what.
I mean, first of all, is this an actual interview? Is this a question? I mean, all I hear is her making statements on behalf of Kamala Harris. She's actually making statements, giving her food for thought, but she hasn't asked her anything. She's making a few statements, putting them together, telling her why she's struggling. Oh, you've had the most complicated. You got to do the most in the shortest amount of time. She's basically giving her thoughts and giving her ideas instead of asking a question so the citizens, the voters, the American people can hear the question and patiently, actually, it's at this point, it's impatiently wait for an actual answer and not a word salad. Let's see if we get it.
What you say to voters who do want to go back when it comes to the economy specifically, because their groceries were less expensive, housing was more affordable when Donald Trump was president.
Not doing that
So
any
you
longer.
maintain Bidenomics is a success. I want to get some clarity on where you stand on some key policy issues. Energy is a big one. When you were in Congress, you supported the Green New Deal. And in 2019, you said, quote, "There is no question I'm in favor of banning fracking." Fracking, as you know, is a pretty big issue, particularly in your must-win state of Pennsylvania.
Sure.
Do you still want to ban fracking? 2019, I believe, at a town hall, you said you were asked, would you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking on your first day in office? And you said, there's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So yes. So it changed in that campaign. What made you change that position at the time?
So, to my eyes, Dana Bash.
Okay. I didn't understand for quite a minute, but now I do. It's the tone of Dana Bash asking these questions. So I'm thinking, my brother from State of Daniel, he's actually highlighting how calm, respectable, respected, leading, how she's actually giving Kamala Harris this, bottle of milk interview, as they call them, softballs. So I think that's why he let the questions go on without actually giving the answers, because I don't think the answers was exactly his point. And so I actually like what he did, because he's showing you how sweet, how nice, how respectable she's being to Kamala Harris. And we know for a fact she doesn't treat Trump like that. She definitely doesn't treat J.D. Vance like that. She doesn't treat any of the Republicans like that. As a matter of fact, what is this game? Tom Collins, he had to go on a show and eat her up not probably 3 weeks ago. And it's just crazy, but let's hear some more.
She was warm. She was very soft. She
Yeah.
wasn't aggressive at all. She even second guessed herself when she was citing facts. That second to last clip there, she's going, in the town hall, I believe, you said, and then she reads the quotes from her notes. No, Dana, it's not I believe. There's no need to second guess yourself. That's a fact. The fact that you had it in notes means that you've cross-checked your sources, you've done your research, you know what Kamala Harris said, and that's all she did during the questions. Very soft questions, very even-tempered, would second guess herself whenever she was pushing back, even though she had her notes in front of her. So yeah, leave me your thoughts in the comments. How would you describe Dana Bash's performance with Kamala Harris? Now,
just like
conversely, let's compare that with her performance with J.D. Vance. Take a look. And again, that was just from the first 9 minutes. So the first half of her interview with Kamala. So that was everything she said. Meanwhile, when she was with J.D. Vance, take a look at how aggressive, nasty, and diminishing, condescending she was.
You guys seem to be struggling.
I also want to add, right before she starts her rhetoric, this is the reason why Kamala Harris chose this person. She's an agent. She's the spook that sat by the door for the Democrats. And this is the same reason why Joe Biden, when he did his debate against Donald Trump, he chose Dana Bash as well. Dana Bash and one more guy, Jake Tapper, who Trump refers to as fake Tapper, effectively. And that's just important to be known. Why is this lady always picked and chosen? It's not because she's a good analyst. It's not because she's a good journalist. It's not because she believes in America. It is because she is a sitting duck for the Democrats, and she has always been that.
A little bit. Kamala Harris has been calling the shots. As who? There's no evidence that Kamala Harris threw him overboard, called you and Donald Trump, and that is weird.
Sure.
You're saying Tim Walz doesn't have affection for his wife? I don't even understand that. They have done both. They have both policies, and they are trying to define
yeah,
it. You have been on the campaign trail questioning Tim Walz's military record. Governor Walz served 24 years.
Sure.
He even stayed after he could have retired because of 9/11, more than the country asked of him. Do you honor his service? I will say that the Harris-Walz campaign did say that the governor misspoke. That was a month before the National Guard even announced that it was possible that they would deploy to Iraq, and it ended up being 2 months. He retired 2 months before they actually got the paperwork. You know, I've seen a lot of statements from veterans, including those you served with, saying it's just untoward to be criticizing somebody who served for 24 years. Donald Trump didn't serve in the military. He received him, and we let him speak for himself. And so people are getting...
There are media lies, such as what you guys did with this interview, claiming that it was live and putting that right on the very bottom. And some of her presuppositions were just completely false. For example, she approached J.D. Vance with a question that he was the one who raised the issue of stolen valor against Governor Tim Walz, but that's not true. As I've previously exposed in many videos that I've done before this, J.D. Vance wasn't the first person to accuse Tim Walz of stolen valor. These accusations go back over a decade against him, and that's what I've exposed. Veterans groups have spoken out against him, again, decades before J.D.
They're literally all over the internet blasting this guy, Tim Walz. You can't hide from something like that, especially once you start putting it public. Right. Okay. And I have a comment from a woman who's speaking of being Queen of Puerto Rico. So when she said that she was Queen of Puerto Rico, hey, calm down. She only misspoke. And when I was made king of wherever, I was only misspeaking. I have 1 million subscribers. But hey, that's only a misquote. I only have a few. But when I need to have 1 million, I will say I have 1 million. Actually, I don't, but you get the point. Every time this guy gets caught in a lie, it's a misspeak. He misspoke. It was a mistake. Oh, me and my wife had to use this type of birth. If it wasn't for this thing, I don't know. I think it's IVF, maybe. And so he misspoke about that. What about all of the real women and families, women and husband and wives or couples that actually had to use this form of science to have a child? What about the ones that failed at it and they've been going at it for years to have a child? You know, this guy just spit in those people's faces. He looked down on their situation and said, well, even though I didn't use it, I'm going to act like I did just so it sounds right when I'm talking to the American people. If it was not for this type of birth, I would not have children today. You know, yeah. But when he gets caught, it's just something, just as Deja Vu just said, hey, I misspoke. He got a DUI for drunk driving. Said it didn't happen. But when it's all over the internet, I misspoke. My bad. My record's clean. I've never been in prison until you go and look up my history and find out I actually went to prison. Don't confront me with it, because in the end, you know the words. I just misspoke. That's it. I've never got charged with making money off street narcotics. until you look up my history. And then, don't worry, I only misspoke. And this guy is crazy. This guy is crazy. Why did you put tampons in the boys' bathroom? Oh, I didn't know I did that. I was talking about it, but I only misspoke. So when I signed it into law, my hands misspelled. I thought I signed no, and I forgot. No was only 2 letters, so I miswrote. So this guy either misspeaks or he miswrites when he's writing these bills. Snitch hotline? What are you talking about? Oh, don't worry. I only misspoke about this snitch hotline. Hey, I keep telling my people, especially my hustlers, and you don't have to be a drug dealer to be a hustler, especially my hustlers. You don't have to be a dealer. That comes in the form of women and men. People who can't find themselves back into that pattern of work that miswrote. That pattern of life where they're getting up every day, going to this 9 to 5 cycle job, government job, or some McDonald's job where it's just not getting it done for you. And sometimes we come up with other ways to make money. Uber was great. What's the other car name? Lyft. That's great. But if you find yourself doing some hair, cutting a yard or two, not reporting these little monies, selling a little coffee, braiding some braids, doing some dreads, all of these little things that you have as a talent and as a gift. Maybe you were certified 2 years ago, but you could not pay for the recertification. This guy has a real live snitch hotline. I'm going to just say it again. Tim Walz, the running VP for the Democrat Party. In other words, the man who is saying he is running with the woman who is claiming to represent poor people, black people, democracy, church, kids. You don't have to look far to see that all of that is a lie. And the Democrat Party in itself has definitely fell off the rocket if they are actually supporting these two, but obviously they are. And I'm just telling you, these two cannot be the party. They can't be. The Democrats have gone crazy, but no matter how crazy they've gone, when you look at the two selections they are supporting, and they are getting hundreds and hundreds of millions in donations, you got to understand that they went extra far. They not even off the rocket. They out of the sky. These people falling, and they can't get up. You remember that commercial? I'm falling and I can't get up. That is the Democrats right now. That is effectively the Democrats. They are going against God. They are going against community. They are going against every ideal of church. They are going against your kids. They are going against the education system, trying to change it into an indoctrination system. People need to wake up because they cannot do it without your assistance. That's why I don't want to hear anything about the Republican Party. I said it. I will vote Republican, but there are so many weak Republicans, they just as bad as some of the Democrats. So Donald Trump may be running as a Republican, but he don't fit in with a lot of those Republicans. They are just as bad. Some of them are just as, I want to say the R word, and but I won't. I will say when some of them say conservative, they mean it in a different way. But I actually will accept that conservatism over this free found love for every single person that wants to come to this nation, except for our Haitian friends, except for my Haitian brothers and sisters. Other than that, just come on across the gate. But Haiti is so close. There's something up with that. By the way, I mean, the Clintons was given what, $200 million a long time ago to help Haiti, and it hasn't been helped yet. Anyway, let's get to some more of what my brother is saying. The state of Daniel.
J.D. Vance was even a politician. All of that is just lies. J.D. Vance didn't bring it up for political points. It's an actual issue that people outside of politics have cared about. This goes back to all the way before Walz was even governor, back when he served.
I know. I hate interruptions myself. I really do. I wanna clarify what I meant when I say I don't want to hear about the Republicans. The conservative party seems like it would be a party in itself, but it's not. They have to fall up on the Republicans. There are so many rhinos. Rhino means Republican in name only. We saw the trouble, the static, the resistance that a lot of these old Republicans that did not like Donald Trump. We see them now. Some of them are the ones that's lining up, supporting the Democrats. We saw some of them go to the Democratic convention to say, I'm voting with supporting Kamala Harris. And so we know they exist. We know they're out there, and they always wave their hand and show their hand whenever they think they can win. And I'm hoping, I'm hoping there was a mistake. And so I just mean those rhinos that continue to get in the way. I think they are just as against some of the Americans, just as against some of the cultures of America. And remember, they never wanted to pass the bill that Donald Trump passed when it came to freeing black men and women that went to prison under some very false accusations, some charges that should not have been charged and sentenced in the way that they were. Basically, the crime bill that affected black people to a degree of probably times 99% of those of their counterpart white people. The bill that Joe Biden made himself. One of the racist things that Joe Biden is on record for doing, and that he has since apologized for. But I had to say that because there would be no apology if he knew he didn't make a mistake. These are one of the things that you heard Kamala Harris bring up when she was on stage debating against Joe Biden. For anybody that doesn't know about that, she had to debate this guy, and she had to bring up his racist history, and she had to bring up the fact that he supported racist people his whole career. One of those racist people being noted and documented as the longest serving congressman, or the longest serving politician, I think, on record, and that would be Senator Robert Byrd. And he was also a documented known KKK leader, not just supporter, but KKK, in that life. And so that is who Joe Biden supported. And we also know he's on record saying, my mentor was the great Robert Byrd. And if we look, we also understand that this was also Hillary Clinton's mentor, not person that actually brought him in, or a person they learned one or two things from. When somebody say somebody is your mentor, that's going deep. That's going pretty deep. You can be my friend for 5 or 10 years or 20 years. That doesn't mean you're my mentor. You can teach me something in a school year. That doesn't make you my mentor. For you to become my mentor, you have to be beside me, giving me years on years of education, leading how to actually put this education into process, to start putting it forward, make it work, bring it back to me, so it works for not only me, but the full community, or whatever the goal is that you're trying to do. Mentorships means walking with that person, teaching, pacifier, baby bottle, whatever it takes. Mentorship is a lot more than friend or educator. Yeah, to mentor a person means to walk with them while you are educating them. Oh, yeah. That's who Robert Byrd was to Biden and Hillary. And, now we're dealing with Kamala. Why is that important in this conversation about Biden? Because Kamala chose to run with this guy even after she talked about how racist he was. Now, some people would say, who would not have taken that position? I agree. Okay, so what? She talked about a racist man, and then that racist man turned around and said, okay, how about you run with me for VP? Who would say no? I would not have said no. I would have stepped up and said, okay, you feeling guilty about what you did a long time ago, and this is how you're going to make up by hiring me as a DEI hire, because he said that. And so, you know what? I'll be your DEI hire, hoping that it takes me to higher levels so that I may truly lead the country, so that I may truly be a leader, so that I may truly open up the eyes of my people, not just black people, but my people being Americans, so that I may truly lift up homelessness, lift up poverty, lift up the mental health in America, lift up hunger, lift up child protection, lift up this indoctrination that's going. Yeah, there are many reasons why Kamala was not wrong for taking the DEI hire. A lot of people knock her for that, and they try to make it seem, but there are many reasons to do it, but she has taken upon none of those reasons. She fell in line, and for a man she accused of trying to make sure she had no education, she fell in line and went in as if she had no education and allowed this guy to lead without ever one time resisting any of the destruction that she was bringing to America by policy.
In the House, when he was in Congress, he was accused of stolen valor. So this is nothing new. I disagree completely with her assumptions there and what she was trying to do to JD Vance. So again, what do you think? Am I crazy? Am I making it up? Or is there really a difference in how Dana Bash approached Kamala Harris and JD Vance? I think it was night and day. And that's why I call her Two-Faced Dana, Two-Faced Dana Bash, because which side of her are you going to get? Are you going to get the warm, soft, I'm just going to ask you a question and I'm not really going to push back, versus the aggressiveness of her interview with JD Vance? Truly two-faced. Now, even CNN was panning her interview. Here are more clips of commentators on the network pretty much admitting that the interview, yes, was a train wreck.
It wasn't a huge, I don't think she moved the ball that much forward. I don't think there's a policy separation that they've created with Biden. Obviously, she gave a kind of personal defense of him.
Now, you might not like the way she answered him, but she answered him as a capable, qualified leader. And I do think she moved the ball forward a little bit. Maybe she didn't score a touchdown.
I just want to go on record saying to this lady, Ashley Allison, another CNN hack, no, she did not. And speaking for the people I've been in contact with, who contact me every day, send me clips. I appreciate that. By the way, Deja, and anybody else, for my friends that may see this later. I just want to say, I think I'm speaking for the people when I tell you this, Ashley Allison, she did not. So don't be the only idiot in the room just trying to sound smart, please.
I think the two biggest issues coming out of Biden for her are the economic policies, which she clearly wants to embrace, but also the immigration policies. Dana asked her if she had anything to say about what they did for 3.5 years leading up until the back and forth this year. Completely sidestepped it, did not answer it. She goes back to her time as Attorney General. But again, absolutely nothing, no responsibility, no reflection at all on the day one executive actions or anything else they did for 3.5 years, or anything she said in her previous campaign, which was to have the most permissive immigration structure. She's trying to skip a block of time at the debate. Trump cannot allow it.
Yep. And I think it's also astonishing that, again, it's been weeks since Kamala Harris became the presumptive nominee and then the nominee. So she's had all that time to prepare. And this was the best she could do. Over a month to prepare, and she couldn't even knock it out of the park. That's really sad. And with a friendly media outlet at that. What's even worse is that the media now, so there's this compilation video of statements that have come out since the interview, then a few previous statements, but the media now is trying to insist that Kamala Harris doesn't need to speak to them. She doesn't need to be open to the media. Why do we have a free press if we're not going to use it to be part of the checks and balances on the government, to hold our politicians, our civil servants accountable? That's the whole point. It's your job, media, to...
I think this brother is exactly right, exactly spot on. Man, So now they're suggesting she don't even speak to the media, and the media is the one that is supposed to bring us the truth. That doesn't happen a lot, but it sounds like they want to make it happen even a lot less. That's crazy in itself. We the people, we the ones that got to kind of stand up and keep this thing kind of out there, continue to share our communication, and we can't go for it.
Y'all not about.
We can't go for that. I just kind of ran across this post. Actually, it's a post on my page now because I retweeted it. It's from Kick Science too. And yeah, I really, really like what this young lady is saying. So it's about a minute, 1 minute of fire. Let's go.
About to like what I'm about to say, but I'm about to say it anyways. I know the police and the military and the government ain't scared of no Venezuelans with some guns. Let it be a gang of black people. I bet you we wouldn't be sitting online talking about they got some squatters' rights. Oh, the mayor and the government. Oh, nobody knows what to do. Police officers in this government have violated black people's rights for decades. Now, all of a sudden, the police want to tiptoe around somebody's rights talking about they got squatters' rights. Violate their rights the same way that y'all violate our rights. Where are all that rah-rah energy now? Y'all want to act like y'all so big, bad, and tough when y'all come up against black people, but now these Venezuelans out here terrorizing y'all want to act like y'all scared, talking about some rights. Y'all don't give a damn about nobody's rights. Let this have been some black people doing this type of shit. It would have been the SWAT team. They would have had the fucking Marines up in there. They would have been having helicopters everywhere, and they ain't released no tear gas, no pepper spray, no tasers, no bullets, no nothing. We get it all, though. Black people, we get it all, though. We can't hold a pot of boiling water. We can't be outside selling cigarettes. We can't be riding in our car coming home from work. We can't be sleeping in our beds in our own homes. I don't want to hear all that nice shit from the government and the police, the mayor, whoever, because that's what y'all do to us. That's the energy that we get, so what's the difference?
Whoa, spot on. She named, in every situation she named real happenings where the law coming to call themselves bring justice facts, right? Yeah, I love the way she brought it because without saying a lot, she said a lot. We can't hold a pot of hot water. Speaking of Massey, who just was killed, shot in her head in her home. And the cop told her, she literally asked the cop, are you afraid of water? Like, dude, I'm in my kitchen. And he shot her because of her having this water. We can't lay down. We can't smoke a cigarette. Speaking of the first guy who said I can't breathe in New York, Eric Garner. You know, all of these different facts. And if anybody don't know a clue or don't know what she's talking about what's going on in Denver, Colorado, where these Venezuelan gangs are putting the middle finger up to the law. They are putting the middle finger up to citizens and people that are paying their money, have been in these apartments. These people are jacking homes. They're not jacking pockets. They're not walking around touching pockets. They touching apartments. I mean, they started out with just rooms. Oh, we coming to get your apartment. No, these people talking about apartment buildings. Nino Brown in real life. And the cops are like, acting like they don't see nothing, they don't hear nothing. What? And she hit it right on the head. She hit it right on the head. Don't want to hear it. Yeah.
Y'all not about to like what I'm about to say, but I'm about to say it anyways.
That's right.
I know the police and the military and the government ain't scared of no Venezuelans with some guns. Let it be a gang of black people. I bet you we wouldn't be sitting online talking about they got some squatters' rights. Oh, the mayor and the government. Oh, nobody knows what to do. Police officers in this government have violated black people's rights for decades. Now, all of a sudden, the police want to tiptoe around somebody's rights talking about they got squatters' rights.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. She did a great job. She put it out there. She was informed, and she knew what she was talking about, and she hit it dead on. They don't care about our rights, and I would hate to see the scene if these were black people taking over a building. Hey, definitely not Haitians. Don't let this group of people end up being from. I mean, we already know where they're from, but don't let another group of migrants that may be from one of those countries in Africa. You know what I'm talking about? Somebody that look exactly like me. I don't even think the migrant rights. I think they would go in and mow those people down. We saw in Philadelphia. We saw what the government did to a group of people in Philadelphia called the Move Organization. That was in the 80s. They dropped a bomb. We're talking about the government dropping a bomb on civilians in America. The Move Organization, by the way, a group of black people did not take over the building, did not hold people hostage, did not do anything with arms. And they dropped a bomb on those people. I did organizing with one of the sons of Mama Africa. So I know one of the only living members, not a member, but a descendant of one of the members, because they killed them, and the ones that didn't die went to prison. And so I know. So they dropped a bomb on movement members of the Move Organization. But we have in modern day right now, with all kinds of technology, all kinds of different tactics that law enforcement can use. And we have a mayor. I just saw the mayor. We actually covered it, where he actually talked about he had some type of information for over 2 weeks, and it's still going on. And we know if he said 2 weeks, that means he had it before that. It was going on before that, because I covered this like a month ago. So how is this still happening today? That's insane. That is insane, but that is what is going on. That's what's going on. All right, man. I'm just doing what I like to do. I actually like to react in real time. I haven't seen any of these videos, so I was really, really glad to see how the sister wrapped that up. And, you know, like I said, it was very informative. And I thought having her facts on point was good. I thought it was great. So now I got a little clip that I want to talk about from actually not talk about, but I want to play and then react to. Bill Maher. We know Bill Maher. He's a talker. The liberals love him. And I will give him credit. Sometimes he is one of those people that just comes out and says it. But the other day I seen him at his weakest. I mean, man, I seen this guy straighten a lot of people. You know, sometimes you wake up and you hear how Bill Maher straightened somebody and you be like, all right, you know, because people really, really respect him. And then I saw him talking to Quentin Tarantino. And I'm like, wow. I had never seen him look so weak and sound so weak. But he actually came flat out. He actually came flat out and said, no matter what, Quentin Tarantino, he was having a real meltdown. This guy looked like he needed a diaper. I am actually, you know what's funny? I used to love every movie he made. And it's almost like Robert De Niro. I loved every movie this guy was in. I can't stand none of them now. Because you watch these actors and you think that's part of their makeup. Robert De Niro, one of the toughest son of a guns ever. And even when he started doing funny movies, it was kind of funny because you're looking at somebody who you refer to as a killer, you know, a real mafia type guy, according to the movies. And then you look at him actually become funny. Now it seems like he's just funny in real life. This guy is just a real comedian, and he needs to embrace that comedian inside of him. You could not sit me down. You probably could pay me to watch Heat. You probably could pay me. But that guy used to be one of my favorite actors. I would not get caught unless you paid me, and it had to be Heat. Got to be Heat. Maybe Casino. Heat and Casino, and that's because they both had other great actors. All-star cast. All right? Now, we know Robert has a lot of them. I know he broke my heart. He's horrible. I mean, the way he cried out outside of Donald Trump's little sentencing or trial or that thing. Oh, he looked at like he needed to be in a bathroom in Minnesota. That is what Robert De Niro needs right now. He needs a bathroom in Minnesota, and we know what that means because Tim Walz made sure every bathroom in Minnesota, including the boys' bathrooms in elementary school, has tampons. All right. 2 minutes from Bill Maher and Nancy Pelosi. I do not know what they're going to talk about, but we're going to talk about it from Wall Street Silver on X. Let's see.
The California lawmakers just passed a law. It hasn't been signed by.
Oh, yeah. Quentin Tarantino. I mean, I had to get back on him and Robert De Niro on one thing. I used to love his movies. Exactly. I felt the same. Yeah. Yeah. And Quentin, I don't even really Kill Bill. Come on. Some of the greatest movies ever. Dusk Till Dawn. I even think Quentin Tarantino could have been behind this movie with Samuel Jackson and John Travolta. What is that called? Is it Pulp Fiction? I'm not sure. But my point is, you can't sit me down. Not even none of those. I don't even think you could pay me. His resume isn't as good as De Niro's when it comes to acting. His resume and producing movies isn't as strong, so I can very confidently say I will never recommend or sit down and watch. I don't care if I meet somebody who, man, that guy, he really needed to be in a Minnesota bathroom as well. You should have saw him speaking to Bill Maher. If you want to just look that up on YouTube, he was crying. Yeah, but he was really crying, and being the Bill Maher pushes back a lot. He's known to push back. I've seen somebody who Bill Maher decided he would not push back on because that guy, Bill Maher probably felt like this guy is going to have this guy is actually crying. He's going to cry tears on my show. So I saw Bill Maher kind of tap out, and Quentin said these words exactly. I don't care what she does or what she says. We got to vote for her, man. It's not about how we look. It's about just winning. Quentin Tarantino is basically saying right out in front of people in public, in real time, lie, steal, cheat, do whatever. The Democrats have to do what they have to do to win, and I'm going to vote for her no matter what. And Bill Maher just kind of tapped out and said, yeah, me too. Yeah, I was like, whoa. So here he is with Nancy Pelosi. Let's see what kind of destruction is talked about.
Governor Newsom, but giving government assistance to undocumented immigrants to buy houses. Mm-hmm. That's kind of a different place than the Democratic Party used to be on immigration, is it not? I'm not going to say that's what the country's going to do, but that's certainly where California is.
Well, let me just say, immigration had always been a bipartisan issue. I refer you to
But not free houses.
Well, that's not free housing. It's the American dream being available to more people. But understand this about immigration. The best speech on immigration was by President Ronald Reagan. This is the...
I notice. I hope people are starting to understand and notice. All you have to do, you don't have to listen to anybody. All you really have to do is listen to the Democrats. They never answer questions. They always distract with stalling and bringing up other things, or bringing Megan Thee Stallion on stage, getting John Legend to sing your favorite song. Nothing at the DNC was actually discussed when it came to policy, politics, and things worthy of the people that we needed to hear. Nothing. And this is what they do. He asked her a question. He gave her pushback, not free housing. California is gone off the rocket. California, by the way, who was the Attorney General? Who was the Senator of California? Kamala Harris. Who's a great friend of Kamala Harris? Gavin Newsom, who's also the governor of California. Man, we better stop thinking that it's just California. So goes California, so goes New York, so goes the nation. Be very careful.
The last speech I will make as President of the United States. I want to communicate a message to the country I love. And he talked about the Statue of Liberty and the beacon of hope it is to the world, and what America was preeminent in the world because our door was always open, and we will cease to be preeminent when we shut the door. Now, I don't do justice to the great communicator. Google it. It's a fabulous speech. And George Herbert Walker Bush continued in that respect for the diversity of America and the rest. California's always in the lead. Maybe others will follow that lead, but
Oh, I just said that, did I not? She understands that if we do it in California, others, not maybe, others will follow.
That's up to those states. But we're very blessed here with beautiful diversity.
So you'd vote for this law?
Excuse me?
So you'd vote for this law?
Well, I'm not familiar with exactly what it is, but making the American dream of home ownership available to all people is something we have to do for people who are here now.
This is before you're a citizen. This is undocumented. This is for the undocumented.
Well, what I would like to do is move them to documented.
Whoop! There it is. There it is. The quiet part out loud. By the way, that is not my clap. That is the people in the audience clapping because they all know that this is a very liberal show. So this lets you know that these people aren't crazy by themselves. There are a lot of people in a financial bracket that none of this offends them, none of this bothers them, and none of the migrants coming in that are harming other people will ever be in a position to harm some of these people. That is why they applauded the lunacy, the lunatic message that she just sent. Yeah, she just said it out loud. Bill Maher said, but they're I love the way he's actually in shock. He's never this quiet. Bill Maher is never really this quiet. And he's actually kind of shocked that this is coming from none other than Nancy Pelosi. People slip on how powerful she is. Her and Chuck Schumer, those are the ones that had to get behind pushing Joe out.
For people who are here now.
This is before you're a citizen. This is undocumented. This is for the undocumented.
Well, what I would like to do is move them to documented. The fact that I can move them to documented.
Yeah. Yeah, the quiet part, definitely out loud. I want you people to know, my listeners, everybody, you should understand what that means. We just heard the girl gripe about what's going on in Denver, how the cops are not even protecting citizens, how the cops are acting afraid. I mean, they're actually afraid.
Violate their rights the same way that y'all violate our rights. Where are all that rah-rah energy now? Y'all want to act like y'all so big, bad, and tough when y'all come up against black people, but now these Venezuelans out here terrorizing y'all want to act like y'all scared, talking about some rights. Y'all don't give a damn about nobody's rights.
You know, when we saw some clips, if you've been looking all over the internet, you saw some clips. I showed a few myself. She's right. You're talking about squatter rights, and this lady's talking about, I want to make them all documented. Bill Maher says these are undocumented people. She says, I want to make them documented. Well, the people she's talking about making them documenting and just saying, welcome, feast on the citizens of America. These are the same people that this young lady is talking about. Venezuelan gangs. It don't stop. It don't change the culture just because they go to California. They're just going to different parts of the nation. Venezuelan gangs literally knocking on people's door with big guns. The clips are all over the news, and you know, they do their best to show the weakest ones, the softest ones when it comes to the news. But you can see some serious highlights on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube when it comes to the way these people are orchestrating. You know, they knocking on your door telling you to get out your own house right then and there, or you can face the consequences. These people are jacking homes, like I said. I know some jack boys. I know a lot of jack boys. You know what they jack? They looking for money. They looking for drugs. They gonna get a car. They want your necklace. They want your card here and there if they smart enough, and know how to do. I mean, it stops at a certain point. I mean, they jacking homes. Yeah, bro. No. Oh, I'm finna give you everything I got, man. My wallet. No, bro. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. No. You don't have to go get nothing. Just get out. I'll find everything. Just get out. Just get out your house. That's what's going down. You can take it all. No. Calm down. You misunderstood. I don't want what you got. I just want you to get out of this house. Everything in here belongs to me, including in here. So everything you got on you is yours. Not in your pockets. But your clothes, that's yours. And you can just go, leave. I got a son in here. Well, take your son. Don't take his clothes. Don't take his toys. These people are jacking houses. Apartments. All right? It's a different understanding, man. A different understanding. I like to talk about, we see how they just continue to tie this transgender movement to blacks. And for some reason, black people just eat it up. They've been the most gullible people when it comes to men that want to pretend to be them, women, black women are. Woo. And so I thought this was another great cover. I have these video links in my description as well. This one here is a year old, but that is why I wanted to play it. It's a year old, and look at how far it's come. The conversation in itself. Listen to this so-called debate or whatever. I don't really know what it is, but just listen to some of the rhetoric of women versus transformers. All right. Women, you are not to be, there is none like you. You are not to be compared to not one single man walking this earth.
A lot of real women are really unhappy. A lot of real women are really unhappy.
Oh my. Oh. This is Anton Daniels. We responding to this. Another great brother. Always good topics, always good feedback. And I can see right now, boy, this guy got a lot of bass in his voice. I mean, offhand, you wouldn't think that's a guy just by looking at it, but judging by what the panel is called, women on the panel and transformers go at it. Just push. As soon as I push play, I heard a whole bunch of bass. So, yeah, let's check it out. Anton Daniels, it's Crown with Dion, man. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and join the team. Help me build the team.
A lot of real women are really insecure, and a lot of real women are really bothered that trans women really look better than they really do. Since they really want this real word, bitch, you can have it. Seems like y'all only have so much to say when it comes to competition. It really seems like y'all only have so much to say when it comes to tearing somebody else down. Girl, nobody want to be you. Nobody want to be you. Let's be clear, Miss Thing. A lot of you don't want to be you.
Boys need dad. God damn, boys need dad.
I mean, but let's just think about it. Are women insecure?
Yes, they're insecure. Yeah.
I mean,
She also sounds insecure.
No,
naturally,
no.
everyone has insecurities. And now, how those insecurities impact your life is what really determines how you move. But like what she's saying, I mean, like her aggression, like she's the one that's in that competitive mode. She's trying to tell. She's sitting there as a, and this is no disrespect to me, but I just can't take it seriously. You are
I mean, I'm lost. Was that why is she calling? Let me play it.
A biological male
Guy.
raving about how you look better than me. You could never. You literally could never. It's
Okay.
not. It's not. It's not that we're insecure. And she said it's always a problem when it comes to competition. We were never. First of all, let's be clear.
Okay, I just paid attention to something. She said no disrespect to Neve. Neve would be this person right here, according to the names on the thing. What did that mean? What does that mean? Let's go.
Black women especially were the number one supporters of the transgender movement, especially.
That's it right there. Black women were the number one supporters of this transformer movement. That's a problem. That is why they put it up there in front of our faces every time. That is where inclusion comes from. And now there is nothing that can happen without them when it comes to that movement, without them actually coming to the black people, the black community. We just saw a whole movement of black men in red dresses. Oh my gosh. It was one of the worst things that was shared to me, but I appreciated the share because I needed to see it. I didn't have to watch it long to get the grift, but they definitely have made it to where blacks wear this on the sleeve, like as if somehow we came up with. I mean, like they're putting black people in the front of the trans movement, the face. You know, not when it comes to the benefits of it, not when it comes to any type of endorsement of it, but when it comes to, hey, black people, we need y'all support. Don't forget there are black gay people too. Don't forget there are black trans people too. Here's one of them. Oh, black people, even if you're not trans, look how they're attacking you. This goes back to slavery. They didn't want to include you on this. They don't want you to have equity on this. They didn't want you to have a diverse life. Include. They didn't want to include you as black people. And now they're doing the same thing to us. That is why they do it. And they do it effectively. Include. Remember how they treated y'all. Include. Inclusion. And now they're doing us like this as well. We need y'all to fight with us. And the women, they line right up. They lined right up. Yeah, that was a little crazy. Probably that person was really upset. I mean, like, yeah. I don't really I'm gonna go to my brother Wise. A righteous perspective. And yeah, I see where Ron DeSantis has blasted somebody. Ron DeSantis obliterates Kamala Harris. Let's check this out. It seems a little better. My brother, this is a righteous perspective on all platforms. Another great brother, another great leader doing great works. I suggest you follow and support that brother as well. Thank you.
Are you going to do to fix this problem with inflation?
All right, thank you. Well, let's start with this. Prices have gone up. And
what else are you going to do to fix this problem with inflation?
All right, thank you.
This is one of her worst word salads. Oh my goodness.
Well, let's start with this. Prices have gone up.
Oh.
And
okay,
families and individuals are dealing with the realities of that bread costs more, that gas costs more. And we have to understand what that means. That's about the cost of living going up. That's about having to stress and stretch limited resources. That's about a source of stress for families that is not only economic, but is on a daily level, something that is a heavy weight to carry. So it is something that we take very seriously, very seriously. And we know from the history of this issue in the United States that when you see these prices go up, it has a direct impact on the quality of life for all people in our country.
Okay, so just for the record, what are you going to do about it? And what she's going to do is give us a history lesson. That was not an answer. I'm still trying to yeah. Well, I almost forgot the question. That's how horrible her answer is.
So it's a big issue, and we take it seriously. And it is a priority, therefore. Say to me, Kamala, talk to us about women's issues. And I'd say, you know what? I am so glad you want to talk about the economy.
Vice president for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
The steps that you're talking about now, why haven't you done them already?
Well, first of all, we had to recover as an economy, and we have done that. I'm very proud of the work that we have done that has brought inflation down to less than 3%.
Hey, welcome back. It's your man Wise, and today I got a story to share with you guys, man. Today I want to talk a little bit about Florida Governor Ron DeSantis ripping Kamala Harris a new one over her so-called economic policies. But first, these policies, or lack thereof, is either a complete disaster waiting to happen or just a poor imitation of Trump's successful strategies. Either way, it's bad news for America. It's exactly the opposite of what this country needs. More inflation, more free handouts, a complete economic disaster waiting to happen, as if we need the economy to get worse. She's a huge fan of taxing unrealized gains, which is basically a formula for a stock market crash. And let's be honest, the next Great Depression. Imagine being a small business owner or a farmer and having to pay taxes on money you haven't even earned yet. That's an economic catastrophe in the making. And it doesn't stop there, folks. Kamala has also flirted with ideas like abolishing air travel in favor of trains and establishing single.
I mean, hey, just to be totally honest, this brother obviously is spot on again. But this is something they've been talking about for a while. This is something that they have been talking about for a while. Getting rid of all of these gas ways of travel, while they will continue flying all around the world, using all kinds of emissions, gas, oil, fuels that they are complaining about when it comes to the normal people or us. But they want to make sure we, the people, go back to all kinds of prehistoric travel, not prehistoric, but they want to make sure we are limited, very, very limited. And the thing about that should bother you is when you check their record, they've proven that they are serious about doing it. They are very serious about doing it. A guy doesn't have a snitch hotline to tell you you're free. Your privacy matters. No, he has a snitch hotline to control effectively how you move, when you move, where you move, how fast you move, and will you actually make it to where you're trying to go? Because I have given the opportunity to millions to snitch on you, and if you're not moving the way I tell you to move, when I tell you to move, then you can go to jail or be charged. That is evidence. That's something that's going on in Minnesota during that Corona time. And I say if a man can make a snitch hotline for somebody sneezing or somebody not wearing a mask, he'll make a snitch hotline to do effective things on a much larger scale. So controlling travel, I can definitely see it happening, especially when it's coming from Kamala Harris.
Payer healthcare, ideas straight out of Bernie Sanders' playbook. Now, I don't know about you, but I think the idea of getting rid of air travel is downright bizarre. And don't get me started on single payer healthcare. We all know that's just a fancy way of saying the government will take control of our healthcare system. And anytime the government is in control of anything, it's a sugar, honey, iced tea show. Shout out to my brother Van. Leading to a long wait time, subpar.
Shout out to my brother Van. That's right. Sugar, honey, iced tea. That's what it is. The government taking over our healthcare. Sugar, honey, iced tea. The government taking over the schools, the federal school. We saw the transgender flag fly up with the American flag over the school board of education. We don't need that. Sugar, honey, iced tea. Shout out to the brother Van. I hope the family members are doing strong and good. Shout out to that brother and his family, the L. family.
Car care and massive taxes. It's just flat out ridiculous, man. You know, massive taxes to fund everything. But the scariest part is Kamala Harris has zero private sector experience. Zip. Nada. She and her running mate, Tim Walz, have spent their entire careers in government and in action. Yes, this is going to be a sugar honey iced tea show of epic proportion.
We're in a good position to be able to critique some of the stuff you're hearing about what some of these people want to do after this election in terms of the economy. Fact is, the biggest issue we have to deal with is the interest rates and the high cost of groceries and all those things that were facilitated by the federal government borrowing, printing, and spending ungodly sums of money as if no one was going to have to pay the piper for that. Of course they are. So now you have Kamala going out there on Friday saying she has this economic plan that's going to somehow solve. And what does she say? She says, oh, the high grocery costs are because of price gouging by corporations. And she's going to set controls so that somehow they can't do that. I can tell you, if they do that, we're going to end up having bread lines to be able to get food at the supermarket. It is a truly insane policy. It's an act of desperation because she cast the tie-breaking vote for Biden's stimulus in the spring of 2021. She cast the tie-breaking vote for the Orwellian named Inflation Reduction Act. So it's not just that she was vice president. She owns these policies that have driven up the cost of groceries. And make no mistake, it's because the supply chains were disrupted. All the inputs are more expensive. That's not just true for groceries. That's true for everything in the economy. So that price control is a joke. And even when you have liberal media saying that it's a joke, because she's gotten fawning coverage since they did the old switcheroo. So that's really, really bad. It will not work. And it's almost like you have a fire and you're going to have the arsonist go in to put out the fire. That's essentially what that means. It doesn't make any sense.
Wow.
But what's even more destructive than even that is her plan to tax unrealized capital gains at, I think, 25%. And so what does that mean? Well, if you look in the state of Florida, the number one source of wealth for probably most Floridians is the value of their home. And when I became governor, homes were worth a certain amount. They're worth a lot more now than they were 5.5 years ago. So you have families who maybe they've lived in a place for 30 years. They've seen their home value go from $350,000 to maybe $500,000 or $600,000, and sometimes even double, depending on where you are in the state. So that is a really significant source of wealth. Particularly some of the elderly have sold homes and downsized, and they're able to get a nice windfall for themselves. Well, if you have Kamala's plan of taxing unrealized capital gains, when your home value goes up, you would be responsible on an annual basis for cutting the government a check for 25% of that increased value. Can you imagine if you had to do that? You buy a house for $500,000, and then the next year it's gone up to $550,000, and then they capture that gain, and you've got to write a check for a portion of that and just send the check to the government. I don't think people are going to be able to just scrounge up that much money. And then, oh, by the way, you give the check. Then if it goes down in the future, is the government going to rebate you? Of course not. So taxing unrealized gains is a truly imbecile.
Wow. Wow. I'm sitting here thinking about that because that also matters when it comes to your stocks, crypto, unrealized gains. And I might not understand a lot about that, but I understood what he just said. And I also understand there are unrealized gains when it comes to the stock market and cryptocurrency and things like that. So this lady, this whole administration, they've shown from the beginning, it's about letting us in. It's about letting us act like we're in a movie to where we are playing the big drug dealer. Every nickel and dime that you make, this is their message to the citizens. We want in. Remember that scene Was it King of New York? I don't want them selling a dime on the street. I want in. I don't want them selling a nickel. If they do, I want in. Yeah. That's Joe Biden. That's Kamala now. She's not even hiding it. And this is not the first time America would have tried something like this. So she needs to look at the history. She just needs to look at the history. And I would tell anybody you need to do it too. So if you're supporting it, you will know what kind of destruction you are voting for.
An insane policy. And I don't think even a lot of, I have not found anyone that could honestly justify this. Think about like if you buy stocks. So maybe you have a company you like, you buy some stocks, it goes up. You would, before you even sell it, even if you're just holding it, the value's gone up, you got to write a check to the government for the unrealized gain. Just think about what that would do to businesses.
Just for the record, if you're in part of the stock market, if you want to know why it keeps going up and down, why your crypto keeps going up and down, that's why. You can almost tell when the stock market or the stock people are afraid that Kamala's doing too good. I've seen it a couple times myself. They are very afraid that Kamala's gonna win. They see the amount of they see this divine nine, a whole like couple million black women in fraternities and sororities, along with all of those robot puppets, with all the comedians, the Steve Harveys and what's the guy name in the dress, Ricky Smiley. When you start seeing all of that, when you start seeing how much media control the Democrats have, it is kind of scary, depending on what you're thinking about. The only thing you have is that your hope and faith in God. But it can be very scary. These are part of the reasons why we have went and covered a whole bunch of topics in this live today, and all of it combined is enough to, if you're really listening and paying attention, that's enough to make you want to move out of the nation. We talked about how they're operating and moving around this trans movement to make it more powerful than almost anything, making it to where men can claim to be more special, more men should be able to replace the importance of a woman. And America is helping with that notion, replacing the respect and privacy of a woman to actually babysit the feelings of some soft man. And America is actually helping with that. The housing crisis, to where you can barely get a home, where sons and daughters are moving back in with their mothers and fathers, and mothers and fathers are in fact moving back in with their mothers and fathers. A household that has taken in not only their siblings, but cousins and more relatives, even a friend or two, to where it's a point where, hey, we got 4 rooms. If everybody occupy a room, then we got the living room, blah, 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 blah. We can have 5 people chipping on this high rent, this high bills, these high groceries, and we can actually survive with all of this help together. That is how, and that's not a crack. That's not a ridicule. That is the actual reality of what's going on in America today. And then you look, we just saw, what else? We saw where California want to give away free homes and free a whole bunch of money to help get homes for migrants and undocumented. But what are they saying? Well, we want to make them documented so we can make this happen. So forget about the people who are already in trouble. Forget about the people who are already hungry, starving, homeless, dealing with mental health. Forget about the people who already lack education. Let's bring in a nation full of others, and we will call them, they will probably give them their own name soon. But so out of a collective of things, I'm hoping that you heard something that concerns you to the point where you need to look further into how you're voting. Independents and Democrats, especially you. You need to really, 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 really do some more research, buckle down. I mean, look at the crisis that the young sister talked about, which is another great example. So when we're looking at some of the migrants, obviously some of them are good. Obviously, some of them have good intentions. I've been seeing some working in Walmart, can't speak a lick of English. And I want to say they're trained or told or some type of way trained not to speak to black people. I say that because 2 times this has happened to me in Walmart recently, to where a definitely newcomer, definitely has looked me right in my face and say, no English. No. I don't understand. No English. Raw, I'm talking about definitely new. But then 5 minutes later, if you go back and check, they're having full conversations with Caucasians. So they somehow are not intimidated to talk to the Caucasian, but you as a black person, you are the enemy. You as a Hispanic person, you are the enemy. You as a Puerto Rican that's already been in America, you are the enemy. The poor, the second-class citizens of America are the enemies of the migrants. That is how they've been told, I believe. If we look at what they said in Chicago, they are saying these gangs are actually recruiting other people. These gangs are actually recruiting young men, making them do something, or something will happen to their family members. We just saw this with a guy that shot at 2 cops. So it's real. It's real. And people need to wake up, get out their feelings, and make conscious decisions for themselves. But if you can't get out of your own feelings, make those conscious decisions for your family members, for your neighbors, for your citizens, for your own culture and heritage.
Individuals, property owners, it would put this country into a depression. It would be the worst economic policy that's ever been done. But this is what she's proposing. So I would just say, I mean, it would hit Florida really hard because we've had people whose homes have gone up in value a lot over the last 5.5 years. Whatever you're
Basically, if you do own stock or crypto, if Kamala wins, you need to dump it. If you even think she's going to win, you need to dump quick and get your money. That's what I'm going to do. Get your money, dump quick, because we know they cheat. They cheat very well. We know that they still have something over Donald Trump's head when it comes to Judge Marchand. No matter what Alvin Bragg said, Alvin Bragg tapped out, he manned up, and he said, nah, we should wait till after the election. But Judge Marchand has not said that yet. So we know that still stands. But the other thing that I think matters most is these people have shown how crooked they are, how evil. And President Trump's life is not even his life is still in danger. And so the one way they look like they can stop Trump is the ways that have already been tried and failed. One of the times, or one of the ways that somebody was attempting to come and do that harm was foiled before the actual attempt was made. Trump knew nothing about this guy who was foiled. Trump knew nothing about the attempt that happened. Why is that? But after the guy actually made the attempt that failed, they come out and say, oh, yeah, we got this guy here a couple of days ago. It's like, okay, why didn't you tell him? And so I think about that as well. And so there are a couple of different things. God forbid, God is in charge. And I know a lot of prayers are going out for Trump's protection, but we know things happen. We do not know all the reasons why they happen sometimes. Things just happen. And people are left for decades to wonder why. Why did it have to happen this way? And I just want to say this man right now has been such a spark, such a, getting people back to a certain base. It's crazy how they want to claim and blame so much evil on him when it is actually the man in Trump is being used by God in several different ways. And that is more than evident to me. Nobody has to share that. And he's bringing the country together in different ways, not actually together, but making people actually look directly at what the Democratic Party is doing, look directly at what the Democrats are saying, and he's making people look directly at themselves and say to themselves, why am I not feeling guilty about supporting this BS? 10 years ago, this would have ate me to my core. Why doesn't this bother me now? This is what Christians all over America are trying to wrestle with. They won't admit it. They will not admit it. But they are having this battle within themselves all over the country saying, how is it that I can be offended? How is it that I can keep making public statements, having public conversations about how this man offends my spirit? Oh, Donald Trump this, Donald Trump that, Donald Trump. And then you say to them, whoa, have you watched the news lately? Well, let me show you a clip. Let me show you what's going on in the world of YouTube. Let me show you what's going on in Instagram. Let me show you grown men dancing with their Peters out in front of elementary kids. And this is like a party. The teacher's standing there smiling. By the way, this is legal. Let me show you where gangs can look like they're making movies in cities, taking over apartment buildings, holding the families or the owners of the home at gunpoint while they get out. But you're offended by Trump? These are the hypocrites of the world. And when you can only be a hypocrite for having a certain stance in truth at one point. So when you have a certain stance in truth at one point, and then you totally disband that truth and boldly go against it, then you probably never really had that stance. You just didn't have anything to make you take your mind off of it. But now that Donald Trump has tweeted some mean tweets, it made you take your mind off of how good the grace of God is. Or how good, come taste, see that the Lord is good. Yeah, oh yeah, that's gone. Because this white man is just off the chain. He's just too much. For the first time in some Christians' life, they've met something that Jesus cannot overtake. That's just funny. I've been telling people for years, you doubt. You put a cap on Jesus, on God, on your ideal of spirituality and power when you do that. Yeah, that's just the truth. What you talking about, Ron?
Your house has gone up, you'd have to write a check for 25% of that. Oh, and then, oh, by the way, after you do all that, when you actually go to sell your home, what are they going to charge you then? 44.6% on that capital gain if you made money on selling your home. This is truly insane, and it's emblematic, I think, and reflective of a candidate who's effectively an empty vessel, a candidate that is vapid, a vice president known more for her word salads than she is for any tangible accomplishment.
I want to talk about the economy.
Oh man, I did not mean to do that.
You have a fire, and what you're going to do, maybe they've lived in a place for 30 years. They've seen their home value go from $350,000 to maybe $500,000 or $600,000, and sometimes even to the government. I don't think people are going to be sure that gain, and you've got to write a check for a portion of that and just send the check to the government. I don't think people are going to be able to just scrounge up that much money. And then, oh, by the way, you give the check. Then if it goes down in the future, is the government going to rebate you? Of course not. So taxing unrealized gains is so maybe you have a company you like, you buy some stocks, it goes up. You would, before you even sell it, even if the unrealized gain, just think about what that would do to businesses, individuals, property owners. It would put this country into a depression. It would be the worst economic policy that's ever been done. But this is what she's proposing. So I would just say, it would hit Florida really hard because we've had people whose homes have gone up in value a lot over the last 5.5 years. Whatever your house has gone up, you'd have to write a check for 25% of that. Oh, and then, oh, by the way, after you do all that, when you actually go to sell your home, what are they going to charge you then? 44.6% on that capital gain.
That's amazing. That's crazy. That's crazy. But that's what they do. They tax us on everything. This country believes in taxing people to death. That is it.
You made money on selling your home. This is truly insane, and it's emblematic, I think, and reflective of a candidate who's effectively an empty vessel, a candidate that is vapid, a vice president known.
Did he just call her dumb? Kind of, maybe. And I think it's accurate.
More for her word salads than she is for any tangible accomplishments. And it's really, really dangerous.
All right, so let's talk about what we just heard. Ron DeSantis hit the nail on the head. The biggest issue we're facing right now is interest rates are through the roof and skyrocketing costs of groceries. And who's to blame for that? The Biden-Harris administration, with their reckless borrowing, printing, and spending of ungodly sums of money like there's no tomorrow. Kamala Harris had the audacity to stand up and say that the high grocery costs are due to price gouging by corporations. And her brilliant solution, price controls, are you freaking kidding me? If she pushes through with this insanity, we're going to end up with bread lines like it's the 1930s all over again. And as DeSantis so eloquently pointed out, she cast a tie-breaking vote for Biden's stimulus back in 2021, the same vote that set this economic dumpster fire ablaze. She owns this mess. And then there's her absolutely insane proposal to tax unrealized capital gains at 25%. Think about that for a second. Let's say you buy a house for $500,000, and next year the value goes up to, let's say, $550,000. Kamala wants you to write a check for 25% of that increased value, which is money you haven't even seen yet. Because
That's crazy. That's crazy. They're just trying to make money off of every little thing, man. I really, really about to start getting out of here. The brother Wise, you listen to Wise from a righteous perspective. Anton from the Anton Daniel show. What's my brother name? State of Daniel. And I didn't play the LRF family. But I gave a shout out to my brother Van, and I hope him and his family is doing good. LFR family. Yeah, we have to be more aware. We definitely got to stay plugged into what's going on, and we can't turn on our TVs and look at the mainstream media because they have one job. That job is to hide Kamala and blast Donald. Hide Kamala, blast Donald. And yeah, I think I'm gonna get out of here by one more play of what's going on in Denver. It's so ironic that you can have two different situations of how things are being handled. And I think it's fair to say if these was black people, not only black people, if these were citizens attempting to do something like what we see happening in Denver, this would be breaking news. And I mean breaking news in a bad way. National Guard would already been ensued. They would already be there. And you know, it's just crazy to see that this is happening. And when the mayor talked about it over 2 weeks ago, he said he knew at that point for 2 weeks. And it's still going on. It's still going on where to the point where people are making videos today. You know, people are actually just pulling up. You got content creators just actually pulling up to see if they can make a story. So it's happening in real time. That is sad. That's crazy. And what's even more crazy is it could come to a theater near you. It could be in your city. And I seen, you know, I'm just a realist guy. And it's like, what would you do if that type of trouble came walking down your road all at once? You know, 20 guys heavily armed. Yeah, you can do good with a shot or two. You can empty out your clips. But when you got 20 guys who robbed the pawn shop for some big machine gun artillery, that mean they come in heavily prepared. The best thing you'll be hoping for is that they allow you to get out like they're doing to people in Denver. Oh, I know some people think they got some arms in these cities. Oh, boy, we got. All right. That's why Joe Biden laughed when he threatened America. He literally stood on stage and he's like, it's so funny to see all these people talk about their right to bear arms, and if in case the government, in case they have to stand up to the government. And he said they're going to need more than their arms. They're going to need more than that because we have F-16s. So he's basically saying no matter what you got, we could drop a bomb on you, shoot missiles anytime. He's effectively saying, citizens, don't fool yourselves. I will do to you what we did to the MOVE organization in Philadelphia. David Koresh in Texas. I don't care what they say about David Koresh. They ain't have no right to do what they did. So what? He was claiming to be a religious leader, a religious figure. That's what this nation is built on. But David Koresh was not, I would say, yeah, they might have found out a few things in the trial, a few illegitimate things sex-wise, but those are not the reasons why they went into that compound. They went into that compound because this guy was effectively building a nation of people who would be against the government, not really against the government, but not dependent upon the government. They had the right to bear arms. They got all of their arms. They had farming. They had a situation where they never had to leave their own area to shop, to buy food, to depend on commercialism, to depend on outside resources. And so the government went in and killed them too. Look how that happened. And then you actually think about, and then to consider what I just said about MOVE in Philadelphia, and then consider what's going on in Denver, Colorado, and other places in Colorado right now.
Y'all not about to like what I'm about to say, but I'm about to say it anyways. I know the police and the military and the government ain't scared of no Venezuelans with some guns. Let it be a gang of black people. I bet you we wouldn't be sitting online talking about they got some squatters' rights. Oh, the mayor and the government. Oh, nobody knows what to do. Police officers in this government have violated black people's rights for decades. Now, all of a sudden, the police want to tiptoe around somebody's rights talking about they got squatters' rights. Violate their rights the same way that y'all violate our rights. Where are all that rah-rah energy now? Y'all want to act like y'all so big, bad, and tough when y'all come up against black people, but now these Venezuelans out here terrorizing y'all want to act like y'all scared, talking about some rights. Y'all don't give a damn about nobody's rights. Let this have been some black people doing this type of shit. It would have been the SWAT team. They would have had the fucking Marines up in there. They would have been having helicopters everywhere, and they ain't released no tear gas, no pepper spray, no tasers, no bullets, no nothing. We get it all, though. Black people, we get it all, though. We can't hold a pot of boiling water. We can't be outside selling cigarettes. We can't be riding in our car coming home from work. We can't be sleeping in our beds in our own homes. Out in our car coming home from work.
Let's see if we can name
We can't
this.
be outside selling cigarettes.
Hold
We
on,
can't
wait.
be... Black people, we get it all, though. We can't hold a pot of boiling water.
Massey.
We can't be outside selling cigarettes.
Eric Garner.
We can't be riding in our car coming home from work. We can't...
Fidel is, what's that brother name?
be sleeping in our beds in our own homes.
Sandra Boyd, or so many of them. That one can actually be attributed to 2 or 3 different women that has been shot by cops going in the so-called wrong home.
I don't want to hear all that nice shit from the government and the police, the mayor, whoever, because that's what y'all do to us. That's the energy that we get. So what's the difference?
Whoa. All right. Yeah. She delivered that with fire, but also intellect. And she used some great references. I'm about to get out of here, man. Yeah. Woo. It's a beautiful day. It's a holiday. It's going to be a lot of drinking, a lot of riding and driving and moving around. People got to go back home from wherever they come. So be careful while you're out. Be careful with the cops. This is the time when they build up. As we see, they are trying to rebuild the nation on the backs of a lot of different people. Don't be that person today. And I thank God for being with me however I move, whenever I move, because I don't want to be a part of rebuilding America either. That's that. God is great. God is good. Get full today. Be safe. And Be aware of your surroundings. If you have that opportunity today, which we often do, be that vehicle of a blessing for somebody. Be that venue, be that inspiration of a blessing for somebody. Be that morsel to eat. Uh, be that dollar, that quarter, that dime. Be the vehicle that somebody may receive a blessing from you. It doesn't have to be hand to hand. Sometimes it's a word of encouragement or inspiration. Sometimes just a smile. Sometimes it's a phrase. God hears your prayers. You never know. So that opportunity comes often, and sometimes we don't know it. Sometimes we don't realize it. And sometimes we don't take it even when we do. So I bid you, be conscious of your surroundings. When that opportunity comes, if you're listening for God, he will let you know that's that opportunity. You don't have to go over. It's just going to be a word. It will come to you. All right? There's no blessing like that blessing, because it comes back the same way. And somehow when it comes back, you realize it hits you automatically. You be like, oh, wow. This is what God doing. This is what God's just showing me. This is what God is. I remember, okay, this is something I did a little earlier. Now it's coming back. And you can always recognize it when it's coming back and why it's coming back. That's just how God does. So be that vehicle of a blessing for somebody today. It doesn't take much. God is good. We, the people, must continue to be the people. That means informing each other, feeding each other, awareness, supporting each other, inspiring each other. But if we continue to let the government do us the way that it's doing, or do what it is effectively trying to do, as they say, give us 4 more years to complete it. You better understand, when they say complete, that is what it means. If they complete the task, that means the fall of a great nation. If you're a biblical person, that will not scare you. It's something that you've probably been expecting. We have probably been expecting. So during this fall, or if the fall is happening now, let's be prayerful, and be prayerful for those that need our help. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. God is good. Have a great day.